Well, hey there, pharmacy owners. Dr. Lisa Faast here, and I get to talk to you today about data, which is one of my favorite topics. So, if you don't know me, I will introduce myself here. I am the CEO and founder of DiversifyRx. I also own two pharmacies, and I host the annual Pharmacy Profit Summit. And if you don't have your ticket for the Pharmacy Profit Summit yet, you better go get it before we sell out. It is in March of this year in Dallas. And I want to talk to you today about data. Now, I love data. I'm a little weird. I'm a bit of a data nerd, probably why my oldest kid wants to be a computer science major. But to me, data demystifies everything because data is black and white. Like you don't have to play emotions, and I'm not very good with emotions. So I love data. I've loved data pretty much my whole life, but as a pharmacy owner, I got a certain knack for data. I started lots of programs in my very first pharmacy that were very, very profitable based on data. For example, my Accutane program. Many years ago, when I was looking at my prescriptions and figuring out what I was making money on, what I was losing money on, I realized I made a boatload of money on Accutane. And I created this really awesome customer support program for Accutane patients. Those of you that are pharmacists that are listening to this, you know that Accutane comes with lots of problems, lots of restrictions, lots of side effects. And so I created a program around this that supported both the prescriber and the patient. And we, at one time, were probably filling hundreds of Accutane prescriptions a month from all over town, from all the dermatologists, because they loved our support program that we put with Accutane. Now, I would have never figured that out had I not looked at my data. I think sometimes data optimization, data analytics, it means different things to different people. Sometimes people think it has a negative connotation, like you're somehow gaming the system. Other people just get confused and don't really know what to do with it. Some don't know how to access the data. You're just unfamiliar with the data, so you just choose not to pay attention to it. Like, that's okay. The point is, though, I am really, really hoping that the year 2025 is the year that you kick ass more than any other previous year. So we have to look at our data, right? The data is your roadmap. Like, I firm believer, your data will tell you what you need to do more of. It'll tell you what you need to do less of and where you need to focus your time and energy. And so it really demystifies a lot of the chaos that happens in pharmacy. Not every PMS system, your pharmacy management system, is good at presenting data to you in a useful way. So sometimes it's worth going to a third-party company, software company, that crunches the data and presents it to you in more useful ways. Now, if you're a data nerd like me, you actually kind of like the raw data. Like, I like raw data and cleaning it up and filtering for the things that I'm looking for, but chances are you're not weird like me. I'm the one that's weird, not you. And so these other software companies that kind of crunch the data and present it to you in different ways, help you actually know what action to take with your data. And there's two software companies that often come up when talking about data. And it gets conflated, it gets confused between them because they sound very similar. They crunch data, right? Like, but they're actually completely different and completely different use cases, and they're both very good. And I actually like them both, and I use them both. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about today about your data. Now, you don't necessarily have to use third-party companies. You might have a good PMS, or you might be a nerd like me and like raw data and like reports and be able to kind of comb through those. But if not, and especially if you want to delegate this off to your employees, then having easy to use reports, easy to use user interfaces is going to be highly important if you want to delegate this. And frankly, that's why I use these softwares in my company. If I was still owner operating my pharmacy, I could get lost in my own data for forever. But I don't owner operate. I hire employees to operate my pharmacies. I don't work daily in any of the pharmacies that I own. So I delegate this to employees, and having these third-party software companies makes it so much easier because they train them and they make sure they know how to use the reports. And I just come in to, help guide and help provide assistance whenever needed. So these two computer companies, one is called Ugo, Ugo, and the other one is called EZSCRIPTRx. And you might have heard of them, and you might have been confused, or you might have not been sure, or maybe you thought, data is wrong or whatnot. What I will say about that in terms of data systems, data analytics, understanding your data, really it's a tool. Data is a tool, just like a hammer, okay? Hammer's a tool. Hammer can be used to break a window and rob a store, or hammer can be used to put a nail in a house that you build for homeless people, right? Hammer can be used in those situations. One is for evil, one is for good. Just like your data and data systems and data software and data analytics and all the things to do with data is it's a tool, it's a tactic, and it can be used for good or it can be used for evil. I like to use it for good. Okay, I'm not a believer in, doing some of the things that I hear people doing out there. Always do whatever you're comfortable with. That's you, it's your business, not mine. But I'll tell you how I think they should be used and how I use them. And you'll find that these tools can be used to drastically, I mean, drastically improve your pharmacy. One of my members who just signed up with Ugo found like an extra $5,000 in stuff that he could do in just the first few weeks. Like he was like, I can't thank you enough for introducing me to them. So here, I'm going to run through them a little bit, give you a little bit idea. And I will just say it is worth your time to get a demo. All right. Like just go check it out and see what they can do for you and see how they can help you improve your pharmacy. Because dang it, I want you to kick ass in 2025. All right. So let's start with Ugo. Ugo is kind of what I would normally think of as a data analytics software. It's analyzing your data, so your own dispensing data. It tells you tons of information about your data. And you're like, what can it tell me? A lot of times pharmacists don't even know the right questions to ask, unless you're weird, again, like me, of data. You don't know what questions to ask of your data. And we all know that good answers only come out of good questions. So Ugo does all the asking for you. They've got everything on their dashboard. A lot of it is one-click things where you can see your most profitable bins, your highest profitable doctors, your most profitable prescriptions, your least profitable doctors, your least profitable prescriptions, those kinds of things, all in your data. The other thing that Ugo can do is they have hundreds, probably thousands of other pharmacies on their system. So you also get to look at, obviously, de-identified, no patient info, of all the data of other pharmacies. And that's actually what I like to do. So I kind of feel a little bit like Sherlock Holmes when I go into Ugo, is I know what I'm dispensing. I know what we're doing. I want to know what other people are doing. Like what other profitable drugs out there are other people filling and I'm not filling because I don't know they exist, right? Like that's what my Sherlock Holmes brain comes up with. So Ugo is really about dispensing prescriptions that are dispensed, like looking backward. It's almost kind of like looking in the past to make better decisions going in the future, right? So you know what worked in the past, let's go do more of that. Now you know what didn't work in the past, well, let's do less of that. Let's go change it. Let's go optimize it in some way. And they've got all these great like monthly reports that your employees can just work. They've got these refill systems. It helps us catch a lot of refills on profitable drugs that just get missed or they fall through the cracks. Patients forget to call them in, those kinds of things. So they've got a really great system, but you can think of Ugo as looking in the past. It's data crunching on prescriptions that have already been filled by your pharmacy and their other pharmacies on their system. So that's the best way that I describe Ugo. Usually people get it. They're like, I get it. Now let's flip over to EZSCRIPTRx. Now, EZSCRIPTRx actually has a couple of different programs. I'm going to talk about the one that I recommend and that I use, which is their benefit claim check system. They have another program that's like a telehealth program. Lots of pharmacies love it, but it's an aggressive, high profit filling program. Usually it's a really good fit if you're one of those aggressive pharmacies and you don't mind maybe getting audited or having to respond to audits and those kinds of things. It's generally not a fit for like your run-of-the-mill typical pharmacy. It's just too far out there and too much work. And y'all are burdened enough. So I'm not going to talk about that program. I'm going to talk about the benefit claim check system. Now, what is a benefit claims check and how is it different than something else? So you should know by now, and if you don't, here's your lesson. You should not be doing test claims. PBMs do not like it. They've spelled it out in contracts. I think it's the dumbest rule on the planet because a patient can call a doctor, and the doctor, and the doctor can ask the doctor, hey, is this covered on my insurance? And they can be like, oh yes, it's covered, or no, it's not. Or like the patient's like, I just saw a commercial, I want to ask my doctor for that prescription, but before I ask it for them, can I know if my insurance covers it? Like, it's so silly that like we can't just run a claim and be like, is it covered? But that's because people abused it. Again, claims were like a tool, like a hammer, and lots of pharmacies used them for good when patients asked or doctors asked, but lots of pharmacies used them for bad. And they were phishing and running, thousands of fake prescriptions that, never actually mounted to anything, and they ruined it for the rest of us. So what do you do now? Don't do test claims. But what you can do is a benefit claim checks. And every PBM has to allow a benefit claim check. And this is actually how the physician systems work, like in their EHRs, when they're prescribing, they're typing in, a statin, they know which one's covered because it's submitting a benefit claim check. And what's different about a benefit claim check as opposed to a test claim is all is the same, except with a benefit claim check, you do not find out the reimbursement amount. The PBM does not tell you how much you get paid. They will tell you if it's covered. They will tell you if it needs prior auth. They will tell you if it's refilled too soon. They will tell you lots of things about the claim. They'll tell you max quantities, minimum quantities, all those kinds of things, but they won't tell you how much you get paid. That way you can't go fishing for like, I'm going to just keep running prescriptions until I make the most money. They don't want you doing that because, they don't want you making money. So what a benefit claim check does is does everything a test claim does, except you don't find out your revenue. And that's what makes it not a test claim. And I will tell you that I think just about every PMS system that's worth its weight in salt right now, they have benefit claim checks built into the system, just like every EHR for medical providers has benefit claim checks built into the system. That's a normal part of healthcare. Like when you go to a hospital to do surgery, they tell you what your surgery is going to cost before you have surgery because they did a benefit claim check. Like we're not doing anything like that every other healthcare provider isn't doing. And so what you can do with benefit claim checks is find out like some opportunities to find out better drugs for your patients. And before you bug the patients, before you bug the doctors of, maybe trying to get something changed, you can find out if it's covered on the patient's insurance. Now, you don't know how much you're going to get reimbursed. Now you can make some intelligent choices, and EZScript does some intelligent guesswork there, but the insurance does not tell you what the reimbursement amount is. And so what's different between the EZScript system and maybe your PMS system is most PMS systems kind of bury the benefit claim check within the software. They don't make it super easy. They also don't retain any memory. And so if you run a benefit claim check and then you're like, I don't remember what it was yesterday, you have to do it again. There's no memory there. Whereas with EZScript, there's a memory. So it once they get the benefit claim check, they store that information. So you can go back and look it up later without running an extra benefit claim check. Now, there's charges for benefit claim checks because it uses the exact same systems that your regular prescriptions use. So you have the line fees and all the other stuff that, we have to pay. And so that's why with benefit claim checks, I'm not a fan of, mass checking every patient for every drug and finding out what's covered, because you'll just rack up a lot of fees that way. And instead, you want to look at patients that, maybe you're losing money on their prescriptions. Maybe they're not profitable. Maybe the patient's on just like an old therapy, like ibuprofen 4 times a day. Like, why in the heck does any prescriber prescribe ibuprofen 4 times a day? Like, I just don't get it. My mind's blown every time. When there's better alternatives, there's it said, why in the world you take 4 pills a day to feel good for 24 hours and probably miss a dose and probably go back in pain, and then you remember to take a dose when you're back in pain? Like, God, that's no way to live. When there's once a day NSAID options out there, like for example, my favorite NSAID once a day option right now is Coxianto. Coxianto is the brand, Oxyprozin 300 is the generic. And so it's like, I might take my ibuprofen patients that are on 3 or 4 pills a day. Chances are the patients don't like taking those. And I'll call the patients and be like, hey, Mrs. Smith, you've been on ibuprofen 3 or 4 times a day. Do you love taking that many pills a day? And she'll probably say, no, I don't. And I'll be like, do you want to see if a once a day option would be covered? Yes, honey, I would. Fantastic. I can do a benefit claim check to see if Coxianto is covered, check to see if maybe Mobic is covered, and help her get better therapy. And I'm probably going to make a whole lot more money with Coxianto or Mobic, or not the Mobic, but the meloxicam 7.5. then I am with the my ibuprofen anyways. I'm probably making 32 cents with ibuprofen, and I might make a couple $100 with the other ones. And so I can do a benefit claim check, help the patient, help them get better therapy. When I contact the doctor, then I say, hey, this drug is covered. I've already checked. It's covered on her insurance. It's once a day dosing. Mrs. Smith said, yes, she would love to take a pill only once a day. And instead of 3 or 4 times a day, can we get this switched? So it's much more targeted therapeutic optimization for patients than just saying, hey, they're on metformin 3 times a day, 500 milligrams. Shoot, let's start messaging the doctor. Can we change it to 750 BID? Oh, that's not covered. Can we change it to, 1,000? You're just guessing and throwing, wild arrows out there and hoping to hit a target. So instead, when you have a patient and you want to fix their therapy for whatever reason, maybe it's to help them lower their copays, maybe you want to combine their medications into one that's combined and they only pay 1 copay instead of 2, whatever the case may be, help the patient. But before you bug the doctor, and you can let the patient know, let's check their benefits, see what's covered, then we can proceed and get those prescriptions. So that's how I use the EZScript system. So the EZScript system is looking ahead, looking forward, looking at things that are not filled yet, but could potentially be filled. And so that's why I say, they're easily mixed up because they're both data, and it's data crunching, and it's analytics. And so they get all kind of confused, especially for people who aren't nerds like me, which is probably you. And they're like, well, which one do I choose? But they're different, and they're completely, they're complementary. They can go together. They can go separate. So one is looking back and helping you make better decisions. One is helping you look forward in order to help patients and optimize their therapy. And so hopefully that clears it up for you. I love both these softwares. Ugo, I don't want to quote prices because I don't necessarily remember prices, and I don't maybe know what the current pricing is, but a few $100s a month is what I will say. You will make a huge ROI on that. If you just work it. So I give one of my employees, who's actually a cashier, it's her monthly bonus goal to work our Ugo report. That's what she has to do. So she gets the Ugo report. Ugo trained her, so I didn't have to, and she does the report. If she does the report every month, then she gets her monthly bonus. We as the pharmacy get the benefit. Our patients get the benefit of better care, and everybody wins. And so you can easily make your money back with these reports, but you got to give somebody time to do it, right? It doesn't just happen by magic. It's not a magic wand and just suddenly your pharmacy is more profitable. You have to work it. You have to do the reports and do the things, call the doctors, whatever the case may be. But giving somebody, you only need a couple hours a month. So, and it doesn't even need to be at one time, an hour every other week, a half hour once a week, an hour a week. You'll actually start to find that you devote more time for them to do the things because you realize, I just let her work for an hour and she made $3,000. Okay, yeah, I'll let her work for an hour next week. That's it's kind of what happens. It's investment. You invest an hour of your employee's time and you get back more money, right? So anyways, hopefully that was helpful for you. You should be doing data analytics of some sort, right? Even if you don't use third party, use your PMS, print reports. The biggest, most important things is, what are you making money on, right? Know your winners. What are you losing money on? Know your losers. Figure out how to do more winners, how to do less losers. And that's the place to start, right? Build that foundation, and then you can always add on layers. I always talk about the profit lasagna. You can add on layers to your profit lasagna as you get more comfortable with data, with looking at the reports, with doing things. And then a year from now, you'll be making an extra few thousand every month, and you'll be like, my God, Lisa, you're my favorite person in the world. Thank you so much. You'll understand your data better, and it'll help you make better decisions in your pharmacy as you go forward. I do think these software companies really do help top the learning curve, if you will. Now, if you're a nerd like me, feel free to go play with your raw data and do that. But the thing is you don't get the benefit of the network, especially Ugo. You could go dive into their data for all the other people in their network, which I love. But you could just do at least your own data and make some decisions off of that. So I think they cut the learning curve. I think they make it easier. I think they make data crunching better. So give them a try. That's my call to action for you, is to just get a demo, get an Ugo demo. I'll post some links below, make it easy for you. Go get an Ugo demo, get an EZScript demo. Again, EZScript might talk to you about their telehealth program, unless you're a super aggressive pharmacy and you're like, probably not for you. Just stick with the benefit claim checks. Just optimize your own patients, kick ass, take names, make a few extra $1,000 a month. Like, you don't need to go hog wild. So go get demos though. Just get a feeling for them. You might gravitate to one or the other. You might gravitate to both. All's good. Do what's right for you and your pharmacy. But let me just tell you, you should be crunching data in some way or another. Otherwise, you're just making decisions in your pharmacy and you're not going in any particular direction based on anything that's concrete. So many of us, yes, I believe in gut feelings and gut like this, but frankly, our world of pharmacy is too freaking cutthroat to just fly by the seat of your pants anymore. Like, we have to stop that as pharmacy owners. And so using your data to figure out where to take your pharmacy, how to move it forward, how to be more profitable, is the way to go. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, let me know. And share it, right? Like, give this to other pharmacy owners, tell your buddy, this is the kind of free information that might spark an idea for a friend or colleague or another pharmacy owner that can help them improve their pharmacy, because I am out here to save the world of independent pharmacy. I want every single pharmacy owner loving pharmacy ownership. I love pharmacy ownership, if you can't tell. I think every pharmacy owner should love their pharmacy, and their pharmacy should work for them. Like, it should be profitable. It should provide a nice lifestyle. You shouldn't have to, go into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, work 80 hours a week, and not make a salary. Like, that's not what pharmacy owners should be. I know that it has descended into that for a lot of pharmacy owners, and that's why I'm here, is to help you not have to do that anymore. So that is it. I will let you go. I could probably talk about data for hours, but I don't want to bore you to death. And if you have any questions, pop it in below if you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe and comment. Let me know if you enjoyed it, or let me know if you hated it. Please don't do any more data videos and whatnot. So here's to an awesome 2025, and I can't wait to hear how it goes for you. So adios until next time. Bye-bye.